Alright, everybody, I would like to apologize. We did record a couple times in the car for Mission Impossible, but all the recordings were pretty junky. The focus was bad, the lighting was bad, and our companions in the car made unnecessary comments.
Kept interjecting with useless information that only served to clutter up the video. We had some good comments,
exactly,
but we had some lame ones. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
So
here we're just going to record it over again.
So here we are, Deep Cinema.
We walked in, you were negative, I was positive. I believe we walked out.
By the way, this is Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol.
Yes.
This is the fourth in the Mission Impossible franchise.
Yes.
As we walked in, I was negative, you were positive. When I came out, I was still really negative. I still have to say that the characters did not grab me. Emotionally speaking, my first blush impression, and I have to admit, we're filming this now, what, 3 days after we've seen it? No.
Wasn't it just yesterday?
It was yesterday. The days just fly when we're having fun.
Oh yeah.
Yesterday, when I came out, I was bored. I walked out of the movie bored. I was like, I could take it or leave it. On the plus side, the movie was far more plausible than Mission Impossible 3.
Yeah, or 2.
Or 2. The scenes, in fact, Mission Impossible 1 was the only one I really even enjoyed. Mission Impossible 1, the characters did kind of grab me. This one, the only character in Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol that really grabbed me was Agent Carter. I found myself identifying with her because she had, I think, as I've had time to think about it, after we've filmed 1.5 reviews that didn't really come out right, and now we're trying to say the same things over again.
Yeah, it's not going to work.
It's not going to work as well, but I see in her a tension that I've encountered in myself. And that is why I think I relate to her. That's why I think, not so much I relate to her, but I can identify with her. What she does makes sense. All the other characters were completely flat to me.
With her hatred for the assassin?
No, with her struggling with her own self-control issues. By the way, this is a spoiler.
Yeah, spoiler alert. Hopefully I wrote that in the YouTube description. Yeah, if you haven't seen the movie yet and you don't want to know what's going to happen in it, don't watch this until after you're done.
So, with her wrestling with the issues of self-control and the issues of fear, those two together.
Fear that she was going to crack again under pressure.
Fear that she was going to crack again under pressure.
Right.
The two things that I did not like, that I found the most threatening about this movie, that worried me the most, let's put it that way, that worried me the most, was the anti-family philosophy under the surface of an otherwise, don't get me wrong, an otherwise extremely clean, family-friendly film. All the Mission Impossibles have been family-friendly.
Yeah, not a lot of swearing, not really any gratuitous violence either.
No, that was an interesting point. There really wasn't.
I think there was blood like once or twice.
The most bloody scene was that guy's nose, as they were cleaning up that guy's nose.
Yeah.
That was kind of funny. That was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But that was the most bloody scene, really, of them all.
Yep.
But the other issue that really worried me was the anti-family concept, where Ethan Hunt publicly, up front, says, I cannot do my job in the context of family. He self-consciously decides to publicly kill his wife, not that like that, but he makes a decision to remove himself from his family and play the part of the grieving husband. Pretends that she's dead so that he can really do his job. Otherwise, she would never be safe. For me, and then he is cast as the hero.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was a plausible situation. He had to remove her from his work because his work was so dangerous in order to protect her. But the solution for them to have a real marriage would probably be for him
he would have to quit doing what he's doing.
Yeah, he would have to, because he specializes in the highest risk, highest intensity espionage there is. But I really appreciated his line to Brandt when he said, "It wasn't your job to protect her; it was mine."
That was
just as a line on its own.
That was a good line on its own.
Extraordinary piece of dialogue.
I think it contributed to the confusion of the movie, which made the movie flat for me because that line doesn't fit very well.
I'm not sure that we've seen the whole story between him and his wife either. If they continue this saga,
I can grant that. I can grant that they're working through a franchise, and family might mean something different. But I do believe that he was not as honorable as he could be with family.
There seemed to be some romantic tension with him and, Agent Carter.
The way the story was written, the way the world was constructed, he didn't self-consciously flirt with Agent Carter.
Right.
But the writer of the story made him flirt with Agent Carter.
Exactly.
Which goes back to Mission Impossible is a great family-friendly movie, but the ideas behind it are not family-friendly.
There's nothing obscene or
There's nothing obscene or inappropriate. Although Agent Carter, they show her getting undressed, and then they show her with a dress on.
That's true. They keep it toned down pretty well, but it was mildly offensive, yes.
Well, not so much mildly offensive, but it was thrown, I thought it was thrown in there as bait.
It was completely gratuitous.
It was completely gratuitous.
Eye candy for those who want that.
It was eye candy for those who want eye candy. It didn't need to be in the film. All it did was say, we as the writers of this film are going to stoop to the level of trying to attract those particular kind of people that want eye candy.
Right.
What they do.
Thankfully, though, her character had a lot more depth.
Her character had a lot more depth than that. They stuck her in that just because that's what they wanted her to do, but that I don't think that really fit her character.
Now, I enjoyed the techie character. I believe he was the guy from the comedy horror film Shaun of the Dead, which I'm sure you haven't seen.
No, I have not. I'm not into comedy.
I think that's who it was. Anyway, he was that comic relief geek guy, kind of like Riley from National Treasure.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed his character because it's become a stereotype now, but he played it well. And
there's something to be said for a good, well-played, simple stereotype.
Yep.
I think that part of the movie, that character, was simple. He was flat, but he was honest. He was completely honest. Very smart.
Like the argument with him and Brandt. He said, "I'll catch you," and he did. He did catch him.
He was very honest.
Yeah.
His character was very honest. I appreciate that.
Either.
Not prideful. The other problem I have was with what I see as a latent, inherent statism. A belief that civil government, through the elite agents, is the last line of defense for the American public.
Right.
There is nobody bigger looking out for us. There is no greater story beyond our government. There is no God besides our God, the U.S. government.
They leave nothing to chance.
They leave nothing to chance. I say that for two reasons. One, because the writer of the movie has no qualms about beating up and trespassing on Russian soil. That's not bad. We do that all the time.
Just grabbing that guy's cell phone and
grabbing
his clothes.
And his clothes.
Just using those.
And just using innocent characters who really we don't have the authority to use. What gives us the authority to set up a safe house in Russian soil?
Because they are beyond that.
They're above the law, which is obvious that we see them as our God walking on earth.
Exactly.
If that were true, what would we expect to see in the story? We would expect to see a certain type of fear in the eyes of humans who are trying to play God. Every human knows that they'll eventually crack under pressure. Every human knows that they're frail, that they can't perform 100% of the time.
Right.
And that was what drove Agent Carter's fear as she was in that odd and uncomfortable attempt for her to seduce the Indian
Which didn't make sense. That was another gratuitous sensuality scene, I think. Where, I mean, if she wanted to, that guy was such an idiot. All she would have had to do was kind of just go like this and get him into some other room, beat the crap out of him, and that would have been that. why would he have had the codes memorized in his mind? He would have had some lackey who would have, he wouldn't even know, I own a satellite? Okay.
Yeah, and why would you get them from him at a party? Why not hack into a computer server? That makes so much more sense.
Exactly.
I don't understand that. Perhaps someone who better knew that technology could explain to me how right it was. But contrast Agent Carter's fear with Agent Brandt's fear.
Okay.
Agent Brandt had a very real fear that if he fell down there and something went wrong, he would get shredded
Right.
by the fan.
And he just had to trust
He
his
just had
teammates.
to trust his teammates and say, I don't know everything, I can't control everything, but I've got to overcome my fear and I have to do what needs done.
Mhm.
Well, I guess you can say that she had that, but he overcame his fear and became sort of noble about it. She pushed through her fear, but you never got the feeling she overcame it. I never got the feeling that she was comfortable with it. There was always a hint of desperation
Yeah.
with her.
Yeah. Whereas Brandt did eventually.
Brandt did, and Brandt was more comfortable with it. Brandt overcame his fear not by saying, I made it this time, but who knows what will happen next time. No, he's just like,
But by
okay.
realizing I'm not in charge, Ethan Hunt is.
Yes. And in that case, he was more honest. Agent Carter, she had that type of desperate fear that is so characteristic of humans trying to play God. Humans
Yeah.
trying to be the last line of defense of good things.
Well, I think we've addressed the problems very well.
Yeah, let's talk about the good side of the film. It's not a bad film to watch. I wouldn't be afraid to watch it with other people, and I wouldn't caution other people against it, saying, stay away from Mission Impossible. Ghost
Right.
Protocol."
Right.
No. This film, in the previous films, the tension has been as they're fighting against mechanical elements. So much, one of the great things about this film, I thought it was far more complex. I'm going to just shift gears from my mechanical
Okay.
element statement and forget that. One of the great things about this film was the good guys didn't use masks.
That's true.
In the third film,
It was
there were so many masks, you could not tell what was going on.
Yeah,
It was
that-
so confusing.
Well, that was a staple of all three, I think, of the older Mission Impossible movies.
I don't remember it
But,
being in the
yeah,
first one.
they would use it to such confusing. I mean, it was made for good twists, but it was nice for them to say, "We've done that already. We're going to do something new."
And they tried to do an impersonation thing, and it worked.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Yep. Yeah. It
And
was.
that tension, that human tension, I found much more gripping.
Yeah. The
than,
emotional stakes were much higher when you knew that the two characters were just had to be actors.
Yeah, they just had to be pure actors. I found that
That was brilliant.
that was intelligent, and that was fairly gripping. Even though overall I was like, I could take it or leave it.
And how they had to displace the two conversations so that
That was clever.
Yeah.
That was clever.
so they would have the diamonds.
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
That was clever. So, and on the other side of it, the technological aspects of the movie were more plausible. It seemed more realistic that they would pull off the stunts that they did.
Yeah, it did.
It seemed, I'm not saying completely realistic, because if it was realistic, it wouldn't be Mission
Well,
Impossible.
it was. Yeah, well, of course.
So,
But like, it was a neat modernizing touch that now, when Ethan Hunt gets a new mission, he looks like he's just on a little iPhone.
That is kind of
walking
interesting.
on the
That
streets
is
like
kind of
like
interesting.
everybody else with his earbuds in.
yeah.
Or using the GPS function to track down the bad guy in the sandstorm when he can't see
You
anyone.
want to see an interesting,
It was
intriguing
cool.
chase scene. That was a cool chase scene.
Yeah.
So overall, the movie was a fun movie to watch. Relatively clean.
Mhm.
Fairly clean. Had some funny parts. Had some...
Him climbing with those gloves on the windows, I thought was really
That
funny.
was funny. And the way they finished that scene was funny as well. It was kind of abrupt.
Yeah.
He was almost...
You're out of line. No kidding.
So overall, I think the movie was a really fun, well-filmed action flick.
Oh yeah, visually outstanding.
Visually outstanding.
That scene when they walk to the edge of the building and you see down, I almost felt a little vertigo there.
That was a cool shot.
That was a great
a cool shot.
So visually very impressive. The sandstorm, the building.
Caveat, watch out for the bad philosophy. Don't turn your brain off when you watch it. It's a movie that does give much room for thought when it comes to fear, cowardice, statism, and family. How do we
role of
understand
family
the role
and
of
career.
family and career, the role of who is ultimately responsible for defending us? Are we responsible? Ethan Hunt's responsible for his wife. Is everyone responsible for their wife?
Every
And
husband.
Every
Yeah.
husband. Mission Impossible, Ghost Protocol. Lots of fun stuff. Movie definitely worth watching. Watch the movie, but don't turn your brain off.
I'd agree.